Hey everybody, welcome to Glen Nuts Cow Emporium. Today started out, say 85 out of 100. Today started out just like every other normal day. I was outside doing chores, opened the greenhouse, I was watering it. Off in the distance I had seen this hot air balloon, which isn't really unusual this time of year. We have hot air balloons that sort of pop up. One of our local towns would have a hot air balloon event every year, and so it's no real shock to see them kind of off in the distance. However, as you can see coming up, this one got up close and personal, which was really cool. It was so cool, and boy did it ever shake up our day here on the farm. It's not too often we have a hot air balloon fly right over our house close enough that we can see them. So cool. Like, look how close it is to the house. There they go. Headed east. They're really moving fast. It's so surprising. And cool. I saw them way off in the distance a while ago while I was doing chores. My goodness. So cool. I wonder where they're going. Hey, do you think somebody's coming to get you?
Yes, we have our chase crew that's coming.
Okay.
We're in contact with them and we've given them the location.
Yeah.
So what they're probably going to do, and normally what they do is they look for the landowner, but the landowner's here.
Yeah.
So we'll probably radio our crew and say that they can just come in if that's okay.
Sure, of course. Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, I feel bad that they ran out of fuel, but I've never seen one of these things close up, so this is awesome. So they have, as you heard the gentleman say, they have a crew coming to get them. The inside of there's not a lot of room inside there. There's not a lot of room inside there once you get all your gear.
Yeah, this basket will fit three comfortably.
Okay.
And so that's a good size, and we have 4 tanks of fuel. We are on our 3rd tank, so we didn't have much to go.
Right.
So it's time to land. So we're just looking for a hayfield or something.
Perfect.
I gotta tell you, I was always a little nervous about that first landing, Del, and that was fun.
No, she's really realizing that ballooning is fun.
That was a lot of fun to land there. This is training flight number 6. But I have an excellent instructor, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. And whenever I get a little bit nervous, I always think, okay, no, he's here, so I know that if things get a little dicey, he'll know what to do, and he's got the skills to do it. Like our last landing, the one day, it was a little fast, so he did it, and it was okay. Okay, so my takes, did you vent the lights? Did you vent the lights?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Goodness sakes, Del. Should I start playing?
So after we went down to see the folks, the nice folks that had the hot air balloon in our hayfield, I came back up and I wanted to do this garden video then. However, the wind had come up so much that I didn't feel like it was going to be a very nice video. Lots of wind sounds. So I'm just showing you the pots on the deck. Some of them are past. I like the parsley. I think if I chopped it off, it might be okay. This Swiss chard never really amounted to anything. The peppers are full of blooms. I can tell you the beets in the pot do not look very good. On this okra, it's a very long season plant. I don't think it's going to be producing anything. But I hope that I'm going to be able to get some ground cherries. And I got some summer squashes coming. So let's go check out the greenhouse. Here's the peanut. It had a bunch of blooms on it. And I'm not sure what's happening. From the blooms, it's supposed to send a thing down into the dirt. But I don't really see that happening yet. So it's also a long season crop. I came into the greenhouse this last week. Last few days actually. And I topped the indeterminate tomatoes and the determinate tomatoes, so that, because I have look at all these tomatoes in here, and I'm afraid that they're just starting to turn red, some of them. I took some in the house that were just starting to turn so that they didn't split when I watered them. Look at the roof. It's just so gross in here with little bugs. Anywho, they're staying up there. That's okay with me. So I clipped all of the new blooms off of all the tomato plants that I could find because I need them. I see I missed one back here. I need them to start ripening. Look at this very cool Cherokee purple. It's starting to ripen now. Thank goodness. So that's what I did, because also, like, they were just going crazy, and you can see how many the big tomatoes I have in here. So I'm anxious to get those guys. I haven't eaten a single homemade tomato. I'm anxious to get this greenhouse starting to ripen, because we technically only have 15 days until unexpected frost. So yes, let's hurry it up, guys. Okay, here's what I always thought would be a great example for a bed that you could grow in your backyard. The potatoes at our place have never loved growing in these garden boxes, these raised garden boxes. Everything has been just taking a kicking with the heat and the wind here. You can see the onions are blown over, even though I've watered the beans daily. In fact, they're going brown. I do know that I need to come deadhead my marigolds, but they're just, I did it this morning and it's a never-ending job. Also, you can see that I didn't hill these potatoes. You would never want to eat a sunburnt green potato like that. It'll give you, it'll actually make you sick. So, but this is something that's totally doable, right? I got some green beans, some onions, I got herbs hiding in there, and potatoes. So, totally doable for somebody that lived in town. These are the scarlet runner beans. I'm going to let them mature, and then I'm going to harvest the beans from the pod and let them dry in the pod. Guess what this is? This is my panic garden plant. Okay? So the stuff I panic planted, look at it. It's looking so good. And I did this towards the end of July. Pretty soon I'm going to be harvesting some radishes out of here and some Swiss chard that I can already eat. I could already eat the beet tops there. And some lettuce over here. So this is looking so good. I'm going to come out and put some diatomaceous earth on these guys. I don't know if they'll make it, but Glenn had an idea. He said, well, we could bring the chicken tractor that the Cornish giants were in and set it over top of here, take the cattle panels down, and then just cover it in plastic. It'd be like a little greenhouse. We did that last year with this whole square. It was so cool. I do have a video of that. I think it's called, I'll link it at the end. I think it's called A Few of My Favorite Things. Okay. So I want to show you what it looks like before I really get in there and clean it up. The nasturtiums have kind of taken over, but that's okay. It's given the bees something to do. And I do have a ton of tomatoes, so I'm not too worried about the tomatoes not having some space. I have some more fresh Swiss chard in here. The beets are finally kind of doing their thing, getting some size on them. You'll see my holy, it's really holy. Look at somebody's super nummed that. So the kale, you can see I spread some diatomaceous earth on it, but I might have been too late because the caterpillars eat through from the bottom. It would get them. That's the way it works. It's an organic treatment for bugs, but it looks like maybe the damage has been done. I did harvest some that had holes in it, but these are massive. Those are not little tiny worm num-nums. So, well, I did get to use a lot of that. The worms don't seem to like the Swiss chard as much, so there's a lot of Swiss chard that I could harvest. And while we're over this direction, see, there's a little cabbage moss just flying around the corn. I don't know, maybe it'll help pollinate it. We are just getting cobs form, so if we were happen to get a really hard frost, it would just stop that process. So unfortunately, maybe you remember our corn, I seeded it, it didn't come up for 2 weeks, and then it took 2 weeks after Glenn reseeded it for it to come up. So really the corn was a month behind, which is too bad. So is there not kind of a joke about your friends hiding from you this time of year when you're trying to pawn off your zucchini? I haven't really tried to pawn off any zucchini on anybody, and the reason why is because I have a plan for like almost all the zucchinis. Not that I, of course, not that I wouldn't share with somebody, don't get me wrong, but these beauties, especially the scalpinis, they're so delicious. Okay, sorry about that flip. All right, let's go walk over and see what's going on in the big garden. Hello, chickens. Those are the brown hens, brown layers. Okay, here's a big pan of the garden. So I'm going to show you both sides this time. So down this imaginary line in the middle, on this side of it is my sister-in-law, lovely lady who is married to my brother, and possibly you can tell she's done a better job of coming out to harvest some of her potatoes and stuff, and carrots and beets, because our first few rows are nearly identical, except she wasn't able to find some onions. So here are the suckers that I planted, and I'm not sure that I'll see any tomatoes off of them this year, but some tomatoes might form that I can take in. They certainly won't be, oh yeah, you see, it's starting to form in there. Certainly won't be as big as the ones in the greenhouse. Beautiful row of carrots. This row they have the wide tops and then the narrow bottoms on them. Here's the rectangle that I planted. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting some beans. These beans are about ready to flower, and it's been nice and hot, so it's moving things along. Some fresh chard that I can't wait to get into. And you can see how the potatoes are starting to die back, and also the onion tops. Naturally on their own, they're starting to like flop over. So we're not going to be watering the garden with the big sprayers anymore because we could do some damage to our potatoes since they're starting to die off already. We don't want them to split or encourage them to have rotten spots in the middle. So I have a soaker hose that I use because, let's crawl in here. Isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. Look at that giant bean, hey? This huge scarlet runner bean. And this one's starting to fill. I can't wait to show you guys the beans that come out of there. They're just beautiful. These carrots that I'm walking past here are better for pickling because they're like long and skinny. I have this squash vine that has wound its way along the fence that I put in the middle, and I have no idea what kind of squash that's going to be. Maybe, I just don't know actually. I'm terrible. Next year, you guys, I'm going to label stuff better. Ooh, I'm not really sure what that is. It's not a blossom end rot. It might be a scald of some kind, because it's kind of on the side of it. So I don't know. Nat doesn't know everything about gardening. This channel is just for entertainment purposes only. I'll let you know what I do and it works, and then if you want to try, that's okay. Okay? So, there's my disclaimer for you guys. Coming up on the beets that I have left, I don't know, it's approximately a 20-foot row of beets left. More scallopinis hiding. Those are just buttery and delicious. And down here, thank goodness, I have some spaghetti squash. Thankfully, because spaghetti squash is one of my favorites. I like the summer squash, but for a winter squash, ooh, I remember what that thing down there might be. That might be an acorn squash. And sometimes when the vines die back, you find squash that you didn't even know was there, right? So this time of year, who isn't getting sick of gardening? And the work, even though I've been harvesting some things, is literally just beginning here. You can see that. All the potatoes will need dug up. I'm going to be, in the next few days after this video, I'm going to be freezing some onions in roughly 1 to 2 cup packages and put them in the freezer. Going to be pickling some carrots. I'm going to be freezing some more beets and doing something with the zucchinis. So I have a zucchini quiche recipe that Glenn's grandma got from somebody and shared with us, and it's delicious. It's so high in fat though, but oh my goodness, it's delicious. And chocolate zucchini cake that I love, and maybe even a chocolate loaf. And then it's nice to just have some zucchinis shredded into the freezer so that you can add them to stuff or bake the cake or the quiche at some other time. So thanks for coming on today and watching. And how cool was that we had a hot air balloon to start our day. And it's a beautiful night. Can you hear the crickets? It's so cool this time of year when the crickets come out. They kind of they put me to sleep kind of the way that the frogs did when I was planting potatoes. Okay, take care everybody. Till next time. So cool. I still can't get over it. There's a hot air balloon that landed in our field.